While the iron serpent of the Sinway Railway devoured the land, the serpent of doubt coiled in the heart of Yu Fu. Once the tribe's greatest trailblazer, he returned from the south with a thicker waistline and a gnawing fear. In an era of peaceful development, was he now useless? Summoned by his chief, the quiet retirement he'd planned died on his lips. Instead, he gambled, pitching a new expedition to the unknown east. He received not just a mission, but a glimpse into Luo Chang's terrifyingly patient ambition. A strategy called sowing civilization. Why waste effort on tiny tribes? Better to give them seeds, teach them to farm, and let them grow. Once the harvest is bountiful, the Han tribe will simply come to reap. Reborn as Trailblazer 2.0, Yu Fu departed to find new fields for this grand experiment. As he left, all eyes turned to the completed northern rail line, where Luo Chang was gathering his governors to witness the Striver locomotive's first true test. The age of steam was dawning. As he spoke, he pointed to his own mouth, then to their campfire in the woods. Finally, he untied 2 small bags from his horse's back and tossed them toward Yin. Yin poked the bags with the tip of his spear, his expression suspicious. Ye Ying nodded and gestured again, indicating for him to open them. One bag contained 5 palm-sized leavened flatbreads and 3 cured sausages. The other held a full caddy of snow-white salt. Yin tentatively bit into a flatbread. It was hard, but his mouth filled with the sweet fragrance of grain. He then bit into a sausage, and the savory, salty meat made his eyes light up. Finally, he dipped a finger in the salt and tasted it. The pure, sharp flavor instantly told him this was a rare treasure. He nodded and had someone pass a burning piece of firewood to Ye Ying. Ye Ying accepted the fire, smiled, clasped his fists in a gesture of thanks, and turned back to his own group. He was in no hurry. Recruiting people had to be done slowly, especially a tribe like this, encountered in the wild for the first time. Haste would only breed suspicion. The bait had been cast. All that remained was to see when the fish would bite. Narrator, the tenets of a high EQ salesman. Ye Ying's borrow a light gambit is a textbook icebreaker. First, whet their appetite with delicacies and fine salt, then disarm them with a courteous demeanor. No aggression, no rushing. Let them ponder, let them take the bait themselves. Yin, this bread is delicious. This sausage is flavorful. This salt, whoa, it's potent. Who on earth are these people? Yin stood stunned for a moment, then mimicked Ye Ying's gesture of clasping his fists, though he had no idea what it signified. He turned and walked back to his camp, his mind still trying to make sense of the strange encounter. Meanwhile, in the Han tribe's convoy, platoon leader, is that all it takes? A young soldier asked curiously. Whether it works or not, the bait has been cast, Ye Ying said with an expression that conveyed complete confidence. It's best if they take the hook, of course. If they don't, they won't get away either. At that point, whether they join us as citizens or become free labor at the construction site will depend entirely on their own good sense. So now we leave? Leave? Why would we leave? Ye Ying's eyes widened. If we leave, how can we communicate? Make camp right here. Prepare a meal. We'll eat right next to them. He let out a sly grin, revealing a set of white teeth. Didn't we just see a herd of wild goats? A few of you go and shoot some down. We'll eat 2 ourselves and give the rest to them. Look at their meager catch. Is that enough to feed several hundred mouths? The soldiers instantly understood and began to chuckle along with him. 3 men skilled in archery on horseback immediately volunteered, slinging bows and arrows over their backs and heading off to hunt. The rest moved with practiced efficiency. Some washed pots, others dug fire pits, and some rinsed rice and put it on to cook, their movements as fluid as if they were having a picnic in their own backyard. The dozen or so master craftsmen also got out of their carts to help. For a time, the riverside bustled with activity, smoke curling up from the cooking fires. In the small grove, Yin handed the 3 goats they had just hunted to the women to be prepared. But how could so little meat possibly feed 600 or 700 people? He had intended to lead another hunting party out, but when he turned around, he was taken aback. Good heavens! That strange group had set up camp just a few dozen meters away. This threw him into a panic. He couldn't relax his guard, but if he stood watch, he couldn't go out to hunt. And several hundred people were waiting for him to provide their next meal. With no other choice, he took the 2 cloth bags Ye Ying had given him and went to find the elder. Elder, look. Those people traded these things with me for a firebrand, but they're not leaving. They're cooking right next to us. What should we do? I was hoping to hunt a few more horned beasts. The elder, his hair completely white, took the cloth bags. With a single glance, he saw what they were. The bags themselves, with their fine stitching and extraordinary material, were countless times better than animal hide. And they used such fine things just to carry food? He then examined the contents: the white salt, the cured sausage, and a type of unknown flatbread. "You've eaten it?" the elder asked, pointing to the bite mark on the bread. "Yes, it's edible, no problem," Yin quickly explained. "That one is meat. I don't know what this one is. It's a little sweet." The elder broke off a small piece of the flatbread, placed it in his mouth, and chewed slowly, savoring the unique, sweet fragrance. After a long moment, he suddenly looked up, his gaze deep and penetrating as he looked at Yin. "Yin, do you remember why we are migrating?" "I remember. Because Biao said that in the land of the sunrise, there is a plant called gu that can feed tens of thousands of people." Biao was a member who had been exiled from their tribe. Last year, he had returned alone, bringing this news, only to die from his severe injuries. This year, it was the turn of Yan's branch of several hundred people to be cast out. They had traveled east all this time precisely to find the place that knew how to grow gu. At this thought, the elder held up the flatbread, his voice trembling slightly. "Yan, do you think that this thing could be made from gu?" This group of people had come from the east, the very direction they were headed. Could they be the tribe Biao had spoken of? But Yan's mind was currently consumed with thoughts of wild goats. "Elder, let's just figure out what we're eating for lunch today. If we don't go hunting soon, we'll all go hungry. And then, we'll have to abandon some of our people," he said anxiously. Narrator: when the pressure of survival meets an unknown temptation, a conjecture about a piece of bread is quietly fermenting within the primitive tribe. The elder, with the wisdom that comes with age, has glimpsed the dawn of civilization in a cloth bag and a piece of flatbread. Meanwhile, our hunt leader, Yin, is still tearing his hair out over what to have for lunch. One is focused on the stars and the sea, the other on pots and pans. The difference in perspective is stark. "Calm yourself, my warrior." The elder's hand, like a withered branch, patted Yan's shoulder with the weightless ease of brushing away a speck of dust. "Come, let us meet them." With that, he propped himself up with his staff, hoisted the two heavy cloth sacks with his other hand, and rose shakily to his feet, beckoning for Yin to follow. Across the river, in the Han tribe's temporary camp, Ye Ying leisurely led his horse to the water's edge for a drink. He glanced at his own reflection, a mischievous grin tugging at the corner of his mouth. Look here, lads. The fish are taking the bait." The men around him followed his gaze to the ripples in the water and broke into knowing smiles. There, reflected in the shimmering surface, an old man and a young one were indeed walking directly toward them. Just then, a distant rumble began to build, the roll of hoofbeats like gathering thunder. 3 riders, trailing a great cloud of dust, were driving a large herd of wild mountain goats toward the camp with sharp, echoing cries. These were the 3 Jinwu guards who had gone out hunting. They hadn't bothered felling the goats from a distance. Instead, like seasoned herdsmen of the steppe, they had invited the entire flock to join them. It was no empty boast. The Han tribe were masters of the plains. Herding was a trivial skill the Jinwu guards could perform with their eyes closed. Why shoot a few beasts you could not carry when you could bring the whole herd back with you? There were at least 30 goats in the flock. Chased out of their wits, they charged toward the camp, only to see yet more humans ahead. Terrified, the lead animals tried to swerve and bolt. It was too late. Swish! A rider cut in from the flank like a bolt of lightning. His body hung low against his horse's belly, his long saber slashing a gleaming silver arc through the air. Thwack! A goat's head flew from its shoulders, its blood spraying a tragic, beautiful parabola against the sky. The display left the elder and Yin, still on the opposite bank, utterly stunned. By the heavens, what divine method of hunting was this? What manner of lethally sharp blade, forged for the slaughter of beasts, did they possess? Ye Ying saw it all from the riverbank and instantly understood his brother's intent, a request for tactical support. "To horse," he roared, swinging onto his own mount. "Encircle them. Leave none behind." 20 warhorses shot forward like arrows loosed from a bow, forming a massive encirclement in the blink of an eye, trapping the terrified goats securely in the center. But the most incredible part was yet to come. The 8 seemingly ordinary charioteers in the caravan, though they fought on foot, were all masters of the god-arm crossbow. They unhurriedly retrieved their powerful weapons from the carts, climbed atop them, and took up high positions, effectively becoming 4 mobile arrow towers. Whoosh! A sharp whistle tore through the air. In the encirclement, a goat that had been scrambling madly suddenly collapsed, its legs buckling beneath it. It was followed immediately by the percussive twang of bowstrings blending into a single, continuous hum. A dense volley of bolts, seemingly guided by an unseen hand, weaved through the flock. In the time it takes to smoke a pipe, not a single one of the 28 mountain goats remained standing. They lay still upon the grassy plain. This was no longer a hunt. It was a one-sided slaughter. The elder and Yin were frozen where they stood, a chill shooting from the soles of their feet to the crowns of their heads. They had no doubt that if the goats in that circle were replaced with men, the outcome would be no different. The martial prowess of this mysterious tribe was beyond anything they had ever witnessed. As the initial shock wore off, Yin's spirit shattered. He watched them leisurely begin to collect the goat carcasses and let out a choked wail, his eyes burning with unshed tears. Wasn't that the very same flock he had been tracking? Now, they had taken the entire herd, leaving not a single hair behind. Were his people truly going to starve on this journey? Elder, what do we do? Yan's voice was thick with despair. Stay calm. The elder's eyes, however, were unusually bright. Look, there are so few of them. Can they possibly eat that many goats? They are doing this for us. It is a display, meant to lure us over. The thought spun in Yan's mind, and suddenly, it made a terrifying kind of sense. 40 or 50 people could not possibly finish 28 goats. Their purpose was something else entirely. Their purpose was them. At this realization, Yan's wariness intensified. Ye Ying and Moxin delegated the task of processing the carcasses to their men and strode purposefully toward the dumbstruck elder and his young companion. Greetings, friends, Ye Ying said, cupping his fist in his palm with a warm smile. Can I help you? The elder and Yan, of course, couldn't understand a word. The two began to gesture, a flurry of hands and feet, with the elder taking the lead while Yin did his best to interpret. The elder waved his arms frantically. He pointed east. You, from the east? He seemed to ask, before making a motion like sowing seeds. A tribe that grows grain? He spread his arms wide. Many people, we want to find them. He pointed to his mouth, then made a sweeping gesture at the land around them. To learn, to eat, to find a new home. The display of body language was dizzyingly elaborate. Fortunately, the Jinwu guards were first-rate observers. Ye Ying raised an eyebrow. He understood the gist of it. From the east? Know how to grow grain. Seeking to join us? Ye Ying was inwardly ecstatic. This was a prize delivered right to his doorstep. To the east lay only his Han tribes, Tuahai Prefecture, and the Tang tribe. If Biao learned of these people, what chance would he have? To let such an opportunity slip through his fingers was unthinkable. Ye Ying's demeanor shifted, the consummate actor taking the stage. He began to gesture back, his voice imbued with a deep sincerity as he began his pitch. Yes, we are the tribe you are looking for. He pointed to the east. You see, from here, all the way to the horizon, that is our land. And from here, he pointed west, past the Great Lake, and further still, that is also our land. Our tribe has dozens of settlements, with more than 10,000 people each. Our total population. Ye Ying held up both hands, flipping them over and over, with Moxin joining in to add his own, is several 100,000. As the elder and Yin counted on their fingers, trying to comprehend the number of palms that several 100,000 represented, they became utterly awestruck. They stood like two statues, their mouths agape, wide enough to fit a sheep's head. Great heavens! Several 100,000 people? And this very land beneath their feet was theirs? The claim was so audacious, for this was clearly unowned territory. But then again, seeing the force before them, could it possibly belong to anyone else? Seeing the two men completely captivated, Ying decided to strike while the iron was hot. He grabbed their arms and pulled them toward the carts. Come, let me show you a great treasure. He hopped onto a supply wagon and, with a loud schlick, ripped open a burlap sack. Look, grain. The grain you spoke of. Plant one seed, and a whole patch grows. We call this rice. It is our staple food. Then, with another rip, he tore open a second sack. This is called flour. It is ground from a grain called wheat. Add water, knead it, and you can make cakes. Ying pointed to the cloth bag the elder was still clutching. Yes, just like the ones you carry. Then, as if unveiling a family heirloom, he produced a third sack. Cornmeal. From a plant called maize. He rummaged deeper in the cart. Ah, but I have the cobs themselves. Hold on. Ying finally pulled out a small bag of gleaming, golden corn cobs and handed two of them over. Look at this. You pick the kernels, bury them in the dirt, add a little water, and whoosh, they grow taller than a man, with several of these on each plant. Dry them, grind them into flour, and you can eat. Of course, he added with a grin. Grilling them or boiling them is even more delicious. The elder and Yin held the golden corn cobs as if they were sacred relics from a dream. Watching Ying pull one divine grain after another from the cart like a magician, they were already numb with astonishment. This tribe not only possessed grain, but they had so many different kinds. The elder's eyes were sharp. With a single glance, he noted that besides the 3 items Ye Ying was so proudly displaying, there were several more unopened sacks of unknown supplies on the cart. Ye Ying, for his part, ignored the horse beans concealed within the other sacks. Such feed, while edible, was hardly a dignified staple for a prospective new populace. He enthusiastically pulled the 2 awestruck men over to the Han tribe's large marching cauldron. The moment the lid was lifted, a rich, fragrant aroma of cooked rice billowed out, enveloping them. A fine aroma, is it not? Ye Ying's face was smug. From the look of you both, this long migration must have nearly depleted your tribe's stores. His tone shifted then, the pleasantries falling away to reveal his true purpose. If you are willing to join our Han tribe, I will make the introduction. We will provide you with land. We will provide you with food. Once you reach our territory and follow our guidance, we will send people to teach you how to farm, how to raise livestock, and how to weave cloth. You see these clothes we wear? We made them ourselves. This cascade of promises left the elder and Yin completely dazed. They had been migrating for so long, the road ahead a blur of uncertainty. If they continued on their own, the entire tribe would surely perish. And now, this unfathomably powerful tribe was promising territory, technology, shelter, and sustenance, all for the simple price of accepting their rule. Was there even a choice to be made? No matter where they went, they would have to submit to someone's authority. The crucial part was that these people were not spouting empty words. They had laid tangible proof right before their eyes. The carts, the horses, the different kinds of grain, those were the irrefutable facts. Only one last question remained. The elder took a deep breath and, using every ounce of his strength, gestured his query. Are you the chief? Does your word hold weight? Can you truly let us join? Teach us to farm. Ye Ying almost burst out laughing. Me? The chief? I am so far down the ladder, I'd need a portrait to recognize the man. Old friend, I am no chief, Ye Ying explained, unsure whether to laugh or cry. But rest assured, what I promise, I will deliver. This is a small matter, not something that requires the personal attention of our leader. Then, what is your role? If you came from the east, what are you doing so far out here? The elder was even more bewildered. He was not a chief, yet he could approve a matter of such magnitude. Just how high was this man's status in his tribe? Seeing the fish was on the hook, Ye Ying's patience was boundless. Old friend, do you see him? This is Master Mo. And those dozen or so masters over there are our craftsmen. They are the ones who build things. These carts? They built them. They can also build ships and great houses. He gestured to his armored comrades. We are warriors. We protect the craftsmen while they work. Do you understand? Ye Ying gestured animatedly, his passion sending flecks of spittle flying. The elder and Yin understood only fragments, but they grasped the general idea. The ones without armor were technical specialists on their way to a great project in the West, and Ye Ying's group was their security detail. In their minds, protecting the tribe was the hunting party's job. Thus, the Jinwu guards were honorably reclassified as the hunting party. Hunting party it is, Ye Ying thought, not bothering to argue the point. He dragged the 2 of them directly to another carriage and, with a flourish, whipped the canvas cover off. An exquisite architectural model of a palace was revealed. It was as if a thunderbolt had struck the minds of the elder and Yin, striking them dumb. The intricately carved beams, the cascading roofs, it all surpassed anything they could have conceived. But what shocked them even more was the sheer magnificence of the palace complex. On the model, next to the dismounting bridge at the palace gate, were several tiny, fingernail-sized model carriages. Through this comparison, they could instantly extrapolate the palace's actual size. Then they looked at the real horses and real carts before them, and then at themselves. By the heavens! Is this your chief's home? Yin stammered with his hands. It looks like a temple of the gods. Is your chief a god? As he spoke, he pointed frantically at the sky. Ye Ying and Moxin exchanged a look, and both smiled. It was hard to say if the chief was a god, but the things he led them all to create were nothing short of miracles. The 2 nodded in tacit agreement. Seeing them nod, the elder and Yan's feelings grew even more complex. On one hand, it made sense. If the chief were not a god, how could he possess such divine power? But on the other, they worried that such a powerful leader would be too far removed from them. Then again, perhaps for a god, absorbing their few hundred people was indeed a trivial matter. After seeing the model, the last vestiges of doubt in their hearts vanished completely. This was no longer a question of whether to join, but a desperate need to secure the protection of this mighty patron. If their chief was a god, how could life under his rule possibly be bad? Look at the people before them. They too were on a journey, yet they moved with the ease of a leisurely outing. while his own people looked like refugees fleeing a great calamity. The contrast was staggering. Old friend, since fate has brought us together, why don't you join us for a simple meal? Ye Ying extended a warm invitation. I can see you have many people, but little food. As it happens, we have fresh meat and plenty of grain. Let your people have a taste of the food they will soon be growing with their own hands. When a feast is offered so freely, only a fool would refuse. An agreement was quickly reached. The Han tribe moved their camp into the shade of the woods by the river to escape the midday sun. 6 iron marching cauldrons were set up in a row, their flames blazing brightly in 6 freshly dug smokeless pits. The burly, rough-and-tumble men of the Han rolled up their sleeves and began to display their hidden talent for cooking. They mixed and kneaded dough with movements more practiced than fine embroidery. Time was short and the task was great. Steaming buns was out of the question, but slapping rings of golden cornmeal batter onto the hot iron cauldrons to make crisp pancakes was no problem at all. There was no time to lose. Ye Ying immediately dispatched a warrior, giving him the 2 best warhorses and a pouch of dry rations with orders to ride to the capital construction site at top speed and report to Commandant Yu Ji. Tell Commandant Yu to send grain rations immediately. Hurry. The provisions this small detachment carried were barely enough for their own men. Now, with the sudden addition of the 600 or 700 mouths of the Qiao tribe, their supplies would be exhausted in 2 days at most. Giddy up. The warrior received his orders and, without a moment's delay, swung onto his horse and galloped west, kicking up a cloud of dust. The elder saw this and approached, gesturing with a question. Ye Ying did not hide the truth. The food we have is not enough for all of you. I have sent a man back to our camp to have more sent. The elder nodded repeatedly, his eyes filled more with shock than with gratitude. By the heavens, their logistical capabilities were far too strong. From the sound of it, they had a massive reserve of grain, available at a moment's notice. How much must they have stockpiled to speak with such confidence? Ye Ying saw through his thoughts, smiled faintly, and began another round of casual boasting. Old friend, our Han tribe's grain can be stored for a very long time. Rice and wheat like this will last 5 winters with no problem. Corn can be stored for 3. The grain we have stockpiled is piled as high as mountains. Eat your fill. There is more than enough. You will not go hungry. 5 years? 3 years? The elder did not quite grasp the concept of a year, but he understood winter. The passing of 1 winter marked the passing of a year. By that calculation, dear heavens, the people of the Qiao tribe listened, dumbfounded. No wonder Biao had risked his life to report that there was grain in the east, enough to support 10,000 people. This was simply beyond their comprehension. Not only was the yield stable, but it could also be stored for so long. Meat would have rotted long ago. All 6 large cauldrons were fired to full capacity. 2 were dedicated to steaming rice, its fragrance filling the air. 4 were for simmering mutton soup, which turned a milky white color, its meaty aroma overwhelming. A ring of golden corn pancakes sizzled and glistened with oil around the edges of the cauldrons. The women and children of the Qiao tribe did not stay idle, setting up their own pottery pots to cook the freshly caught fish into a savory soup. Every extra bite of food was a victory. Their hunting party, meanwhile, helped the Han warriors process the mutton. On one side, the men of the Qiao tribe struggled with their stone knives, huffing and puffing as they tried to skin the goats. After a long effort, it was still faster to just tear the hide off with their bare hands. But across the way, the Han soldiers each wielded a gleaming steel dagger. With a few deft movements, skinning was as effortless as removing a coat. The old veterans who had spent time on the grasslands were particularly masterful, peeling off the entire sheepskin in one perfect piece, without a single tear. A complete hide like that, once treated, could be made into a water bag or a raft, making it incredibly valuable. The Qiao men's eyes were practically glued to the sight, their mouths agape. No wonder their captors could sever a goat's head with a single blow. Those knives, they were practically divine artifacts. Using the steel blades to deb one and cut the meat was as easy as slicing tofu. Ying could no longer contain himself. He found Ye Ying and gestured with eyes full of longing. Ye Ying, when we join the Han tribe, can I have a knife like that too? Of course, Ye Ying laughed. But our kind are standard military issue. You only get one if you become a soldier. However, common folk can also carry weapons. Once you're settled in, work hard, sell your grain for money, and you can go to the blacksmith's forge, buy your own iron, and have a master custom make one for you. He pointed to the simple, ancient-looking longsword at Mo Xian's waist. See that? Master Mo paid to have that one forged himself. Hearing this, Yin and the others lit up with joy. So ordinary people could have them too. It was just that, Everything required money. The meal was ready. Snow-white rice, golden corn pancakes, roasted corn on the cob, sweet boiled corn, all complemented by the savory mutton and fish soups. The people of the Qiao tribe sat together, tasting for the first time food made purely from plants. With the first bite, a sweet, soft, and glutinous warmth instantly flooded their bodies. It was the energy their bodies craved most. The elder and Yin tasted a bit of everything, their mouths greasy with satisfaction, praising it endlessly. Everyone gathered around the pots, feasting on this special buffet-style meal, stuffing themselves while listening to Ye Ying describe the Han tribe. He explained that the Han was composed of many different clans, so they would not have to worry about being forced to change their family names. He told them that their territory was immeasurably vast. Their current location was just a tiny speck of it, and their final destination was the tribe's capital city. The elder was captivated, seizing a lull in the conversation to ask, "Ye Ying, is this grain easy to grow? How much does one person need to plant to have enough to eat? How long does it take to harvest?" "Easy to grow," Ye Ying said between bites. "Corn and rice have the highest yields and grow the fastest. In our lands, it takes at most 3 months from sowing to harvest." 3 months. That's right, the time it takes for those 2 moons in the sky to meet 3 times. The elder nodded repeatedly. He understood that. Then, do the people of your tribe have to farm every day? Ye Ying's head throbbed. The question was so basic, but he patiently explained. We live in family units. For example, Yan, his wife, and his children make up one family. Once he joins us, the government will register his household, give him land to build a house, and then give him and his wife 20 mu of farmland each. As the head of the household, Yin will be responsible for cultivating those 40 mu of land. What he plants will be determined by the government's arrangements. If he cannot farm, it is no problem. The government will send people to teach him. Seeds, farm tools, and draft oxen, the government will provide them all. As for the 20 mu of land your wife receives, she will not need to plant grain. Ye Ying mumbled around a mouthful of corn. She will primarily grow cotton and hemp, the fibers we use for cloth, as well as vegetables and fruits. His tone shifted, however, and his expression grew solemn. But as citizens of the Han tribe, you have an obligation to pay taxes. With every harvest, whether it is grain or cotton, you must hand over 20%. The rest is yours to keep. What? The elder and Yin heard this and immediately bristled. Why should they have to hand over what they had worked so hard to grow? If they gave it away, what would they eat? In the past, when they hunted and fished, it was a collective effort, and the rewards were shared by all. Now, not only were they introducing the idea of private ownership, but they also had to pay taxes. What sort of logic was this? Ye Ying, the two gestured frantically. Why must we pay? To whom do we pay it? What do they want with our grain? The questions came so fast that Ye Ying nearly choked on his corn. By the heavens, the tribe provides so much, and they complain about a 20% tax? But he caught himself. They had not yet officially joined, had not yet enjoyed the benefits of being part of the Han. It was natural for them to have questions. He nudged the snickering Moxin with his elbow. Master Mo, you take over. You explain. I need to eat something to calm my nerves. Moxin's face darkened. He knew he should not have snickered. But since he had been called upon, he had no choice but to step in. First, you must understand one thing. Moxin cleared his throat, his presence commanding. As citizens of the Han tribe, paying taxes is an obligation. There is no why. We are a collective. Since you have joined, you must contribute to that collective. Otherwise, why should the tribe care for you? We did not ask you to care for us. Can we not just farm and live our own lives? Yin said stubbornly, jutting out his chin. Certainly. Moxin retorted without hesitation. If you do not pay taxes and do not follow the rules, then you are not one of us. You will have no land, no seeds, no tools, and no draft oxen. You may go wherever you please, so long as it is not on our territory. Before the two could argue, Moxin continued his verbal assault. The tribe belongs to the chief, and it also belongs to all of us. Does the chief have time to manage such a large enterprise by himself? That is why we have a government, to manage everyone on his behalf. When you listen to the government, you are listening to the chief. Besides, to farm, you need a stable piece of land, do you not? Where does that land come from? The chief sent thousands of warriors like Ye Ying, who shed blood and fought desperately to seize it. Their food, their clothes, their weapons, their war horses, the pensions for those who died in battle. Does any of that not cost something? The chief paid a great price to give you a place to survive, and you would contribute nothing? Does the chief owe you this? His words struck them like a hammer, leaving the elder and Yin reeling. So, that was the reason for taxes? They had to pay a price for using land that was bought with the lives of warriors? When put that way, it seemed to make a certain kind of sense. But Yin still could not wrap his head around it. The world was so vast. Could they not find land to farm anywhere? Why did they have to use the land given to them? He raised this question. Moxin rolled his eyes in exasperation, shooting a glance at the snickering Ye Ying. So this is the frustration you felt, he thought. Fine. Let us say you have land. Moxin patiently continued. Where will you get the seeds? The tools? You do not know how to farm. Who will teach you? You are but one man. How many hands do you have? Can you truly grow enough to feed your family? Where do you get all these things if not from the tribe? Yan's mouth opened, but he was rendered speechless. After a long pause, he squeezed out, Can't I just buy them from you? No. Moxin said, his tone decisive. We do not sell grain to outsiders. Farm tools are made of steel, as precious as weapons. And how is steel made? The chief pays men to mine ore and supports countless artisans to smelt it. You are not one of us, so why should we sell it to you? And the government. If your family has difficulties, the government sends someone to help. That person puts aside his own work to teach you how to farm. Who feeds his wife and children? Is asking you to pay a 20% tax so much to ask? And the draft oxen. The tribe's oxen are limited, only a few per village, all transported over long distances by the government. If you do not pay taxes, why should you get to use them for free? Moxin finished his tirade, paused, and delivered his closing statement. In short, the 20% tax the chief collects is not for himself. It is used to fund the many things that make life better for everyone. However, the elder and Yin still wore expressions of profound, shaken confusion. In the end, it was Ye Ying who saw the heart of the problem. These people were, at their core, terrified of starvation. Grain was their lifeline. Asking them to hand it over was like asking for their lives. My friends, think no more of it, Ye Ying said with finality. I will tell you just one thing. As long as you follow the government's arrangements and farm properly, with 40 mu of land per family, even after paying the tax, the grain that remains will be more than a family of 10 could possibly eat. You will have a surplus you must learn to store. We have had newcomers just like you before, reluctant to sell their surplus grain, insisting on storing it themselves. And what happened? They could not eat it all, could not store it properly, and it was ruined by insects and mold. In the end, were they not the ones crying, begging to sell it to the government for money? Those words struck a chord deep within them. If it was truly as Ye Ying said, that even after paying taxes, they would have more than enough to eat, then handing over a portion did not seem so unacceptable. After all, if you could not even feed yourself, who would care about the life or death of the tribe? After much persuasion, their words all but exhausted, the elder and Yin were finally convinced. The two returned to their clansmen, and a prolonged murmur rippled through the group. In the end, faced with the overwhelming will to survive, they all chose to yield. Their decision was unanimous. They would join the Han tribe and follow this band of gods. Wasting no time, Ye Ying gave the order. All units, objective due west. Full pace. It was a race against time. They had to rendezvous with the supply convoy sent by Yuji before their own provisions were depleted. To increase their speed, Ye Ying and Moxin conferred and made a difficult decision. All artisans would dismount and travel on foot, relinquishing the precious space in the carriages to the old, the weak, the women, and the children of the Qiao tribe. For large carts, aside from the one treasured transport carrying the imperial palace model, were instantly packed to the brim. Even the grain cart was unloaded of its pots and pans, and a few strong men were conscripted as pot bearers to make room for a dozen more people. The column reformed, ready to set out once more. The youngest children, too small to walk, and the frailest women were all loaded onto the carts. The remaining men, including the elder leaning on his staff, trailed behind the column on foot. The 18 cavalrymen of the Jinwu Guard fanned out like a great net, protecting the column's flanks while also serving as hunters, hoping to procure game to supplement their meager rations. Their efficiency far surpassed that of the Qiao men, who had always hunted on foot. Leaning on his staff with one hand and steadying himself against the side of a cart with the other, the elder watched the children inside, who were yelping with a newfound excitement. A long-lost smile graced his face. If not for the Han tribe's magical carts, he thought, we would likely still be trudging through the mud. He looked at the rolling wheels beside him, then at the two sturdy draft horses pulling the cart ahead, and he could not help but begin gesturing to Moxin at his side. Master Mo, this cart, did you build it? Does your tribe have many of them? In the elder's eyes, this four-wheeled carriage was nothing short of a divine artifact. A single cart could hold 30 to 40 children. Its capacity for transport was astounding. These carts. Our Han tribe has quite a few, Mo Xian said modestly. I don't know the precise number, but at least 10,000. The horses that pull them, probably around 20,000. We have even more riding horses, several tens of thousands, I would guess. He continued, we have over 10,000 cavalrymen like Ye Ying in our tribe. The truly skilled among them are assigned 2 or 3 horses each to ride in rotation. After his introduction of the horses, Mo Xian pointed to himself and the artisans behind him. Most of the dozen or so of us here are carpenters. We also have masons, kiln workers, stonemasons, and even a painter. We can build these carriages, but most of us used to build ships. What? The elder, Yan, and the nearby hunters listened, their jaws slack with disbelief. Tens of thousands of carts? Tens of thousands of horses? 10,000 cavalrymen? And each cavalryman had several mounts? A man has only one backside. How could he possibly ride so many? Yin and the others glanced at Ye Ying's agile form, their eyes glinting with envy. They were already scheming how they might borrow a horse. You've only got one arse. What do you need so many horses for? Lending me one is only fair. The logic seemed impeccable to them. After the elder finally processed the enormous figures, he asked with renewed curiosity, Master Mo, this ship you speak of, what is it? A ship? Mo Xian paused in thought. It is a kind of carriage that travels on water. It needs no horses. It is pushed by the wind. The smaller ones can carry the contents of 4 or 5 of these carts. The large ones, they can carry over 1,000 people and several hundred horses at once. They are like cities floating on the water. The crowd listened in bewilderment, but they grasped one essential truth. Ships were far more magnificent than carriages. You will see them when we arrive, Mo Xian said. Our capital city is built beside the river. When the ships come to transport goods, you will see for yourselves. The elder was stunned into a long silence before he finally asked, a vessel so large must surely be the Han tribe's most powerful means of transport, correct? Mo Xian shook his head, a mysterious smile playing on his lips. It might have been, in the past. But now, on land, we have something even more powerful. He paused, then enunciated each word with care. It is a thing made of iron, called a train. It is as long as several hundred carriages, pulled by a furnace that breathes fire, and it can transport in a single journey what would take over 1,000 carts to carry. However, Mo Xian added, the entire tribe possesses only one at present. But soon, by next year at the latest, I estimate the capital will have one as well. From carriages to sailing ships, and now to the unheard of train, the world as the Qiao tribe knew it was being repeatedly shattered and rebuilt. This was no longer a mere technological gap. It was a crushing, cross-dimensional blow. Mo Xian's round of casual boasting had single-handedly elevated the Han tribe's image in their minds from that of a powerful tribe to a kingdom of gods. The elder could only think, his heart thrumming with a mixture of terror and awe. My heavens, what manner of celestial kingdom have we just joined? In the pitch-black night, save for the crackling of the bonfire and the occasional chirp of an insect, a profound silence reigned. Suddenly, a distant rumble of hoofbeats, at first faint, then rapidly approaching, shattered the tranquility of the night. The people in the camp, startled from their sleep, scrambled for their weapons. Stand down. They are our own. Ye Ying's voice cut through the alarm, and a collective sigh of relief swept through the encampment. The 10 cavalrymen dispatched at dusk returned, their faces alight with triumph, their harvest plentiful. Not only had they shot down 7 or 8 plump wild geese, but more impressively, they had brought back 13 red deer. For were already dead, pierced through the heart by an arrow, their blood drained. The remaining 9 were alive, their necks deftly roped, trotting obediently behind the horses. Well done. Ye Ying clapped the leading squad leader heartily on the shoulder. This was a stroke of fortune. The live deer could follow the column, a mobile larder to be slaughtered whenever food ran low. It was far better than carrying a pile of easily perishable meat. With this timely provender, the column's looming food shortage was temporarily averted. 2 days later, in the afternoon, as the column trudged onward, a cavalry detachment appeared on the western horizon, flying the Han tribe's banner and the military flag of the Jinwu Guard. A full 30 cavalrymen escorted 6 carts laden with grain and 10 empty carts, arriving in a great, dust-churning procession. It is our people. Ye Ying recognized his tribe's flag at a glance and waved his arms in excitement. The young warrior sent to deliver the message had also returned safely. He ran to Ye Ying and Mo Xian, reporting with breathless excitement. The commandant commends us all with a major merit. His orders are to bring the people back safely and swiftly. He gave specific instructions, sir, that we are to protect Master Mo and the architectural model at all costs. Failure, he said, would be met with military law. So be it. Ye Ying now had 50 elite cavalrymen under his command. Escorting this column was a simple matter. He now felt confident enough to charge a small nomadic tribe head-on. What's more, they were not far from the capital's construction site, at most a 3 to 5 day journey away. With the arrival of the new carts, more of the Qiao tribe could ride. Even national treasures like Moxin, his artisans, and the elder were afforded a place. The column's speed soared once again. In less than 3 days, they reached their destination, the grand construction site of the capital's imperial palace. The sight that greeted them, however, left the expectant members of the Qiao tribe utterly speechless. There was no golden splendor, no magnificent aura of a burgeoning capital. There was only a vast, empty field. 2,000 soldiers of the Jinwu Guard, acting as foremen, directed 3,000 ragged slaves who were fervently digging earth. The cycle was endless: digging, loading, hauling, unloading. The purpose of this massive undertaking? They were excavating an artificial lake, using the displaced earth to raise the foundation of the future palace. The sheer scale of the project was staggering, a feat of men attempting to move mountains. The people of the Qiao tribe looked at the spectacular scene of several thousand souls toiling away, then turned to look at the exquisite architectural model on the cart. They finally believed. The Han tribe was not making idle boasts. They were truly going to build a divine palace for their chief, right here on this spot. On the construction site, over 500 carts moved earth back and forth. Ye Ying, where do we go now? Looking at the vast construction site before them, Yin and the elder exchanged a glance, their hearts pounding. They brought us all this way, surely not to have us dig earth like those slaves. My heavens, a palace this large, when would it ever be finished? We would likely spend the rest of our lives here. Do not worry. Ye Ying saw their concern and explained with a smile. First, I will take you to see the man in charge here, our Jinwu Guard's commandant Yu. He will arrange a place for you to live and land for you to farm. Truly? We can go to our fields today? Yin, still uneasy, pressed him anxiously. Be patient, Ye Ying reassured them. He then pointed to the slaves sweating profusely under the hot sun in the distance. Do you know who those people are? And no, they are not men. Ye Ying's tone turned icy. They are a race of cannibals. They once tried to attack our Han tribe and devour our people. They were defeated by our chief, captured, and sentenced to lifelong slavery, to perform the hardest, most grueling labor until they die of exhaustion. What? The elder and Yin listened, their eyes nearly starting from their sockets. There is such a cruel race in this world. They eat people? They are monsters, unworthy of being called human, the two said in unison, their fear replaced by righteous indignation. Indeed, Ye Ying sneered. Letting them wash away their sins with a lifetime of hard labor is a mercy. After this explanation, a great weight was lifted from the hearts of the elder and Yin. Thank the heavens, they thought. Thank the heavens we are on their side. It was a masterful stroke. By casting the slaves not as a conquered people but as inhuman monsters, Ye Ying had not only extinguished the flickers of fear in the Qiao tribe, but had also ignited a powerful sense of shared identity. They were not merely joining a powerful tribe. They were aligning themselves with the righteous, the protectors of humanity. In that moment, a profound sense of belonging took root in their hearts. A sense of rightness settled over the Qiao tribe. They had come seeking refuge of their own free will. They were an ordinary people, with customs and traditions, not savages who preyed upon their own kind. Why, then, should they be treated the same as that inhuman rabble of slaves? Anticipating their anxieties, Ye Ying first settled the Qiao tribe in the Jinwu Guard's mess hall to rest, then went to find Yuji alone. Had he dared to ask the elder and Yin to leave their kinsmen to meet the leader, the two would have surely seen it as a ploy to separate them, a prelude to an attack. Now, however, allowing them to remain together while the great leader came personally to offer his welcome was both a comfort and a sign of respect. As expected, the arrangement pleased the elder and Yin greatly. They comforted their clansmen while curiously observing their new surroundings. Before long, Yuji arrived. He was not clad in his heavy armor, but in a well-fitting, crimson military uniform. Flanked by 2 personal guards, he strode toward them with an air of confident ease. Commandant Yu. Ye Ying hurried to greet him and make the introductions. This is the elder of the Qiao tribe, and this is their hunt leader, Yin. He then turned to the elder and Yin, introducing his commander in the simplest, most direct way possible. This is Commandant Yu. In this territory, his word is law. When the elder and Yin saw Yu Ji, they stared in disbelief. He was so young. He looked to be only 16 or 17, yet he commanded thousands of men. In their own tribe, such a position would be held by someone of at least the great elder's station, and their great elder's beard was already streaked with white. Commandant, daring no disrespect, the two men quickly cupped their fists in salute, just as Moxian had taught them, looking quite practiced in the gesture. There is no need for such formalities, my friends, Yu Ji said with a slight smile. My subordinate has told me that you have traveled a great distance to seek refuge with our Han tribe. It has been an arduous journey. Since you have come to us willingly, he continued, getting straight to the point, we will certainly make proper arrangements for you. He presented them with two options. 1. You may stay in our military barracks for now, eating and living with our men. You can move into your new houses once they are constructed. 2. You may go to your new lands now. I will give you half a year's worth of grain. You can build your own houses, and I will send men to register your households, distribute farmland, and provide seeds and tools. I will also send artisans to teach you the necessary skills. The elder and Yin did not need to think. They immediately chose the second option. To live under another's roof felt as though their lives were in another's hands. With grain of their own, their hearts would be at ease. Good. Then it is settled, Yu Ji agreed readily. You will take your midday meal here. This afternoon, I will have Ye Ying take you to your chosen location. Grain, artisans, and tools will all be provided. As for the houses, we will begin with rammed earth dwellings, and we will leave you ample space for a courtyard. When the brick kilns are built in the latter half of the year, and you have saved some money, you may buy bricks and build proper brick and tile houses for yourselves. Ye Ying gestured animatedly at their side, providing a running translation. The elder and Yin understood, and they were so moved they nearly knelt before Yu Ji. The plan was perfectly suited to their needs. Since you are already familiar with Ye Ying, shall we put him in charge of all subsequent arrangements? Yu Ji asked. Yes, that would be for the best. The elder and Yin nodded repeatedly. Ye Ying, too, was overjoyed. It was a fine assignment, one where he could earn both merit for himself and goodwill for his tribe. Once everything was arranged, Yu Ji finally revealed his true purpose. He asked, with an air of casualness, My friends, I wonder, where is your Qiao tribe located? How long did it take you to get here? And how many people are there in your entire tribe? The elder and Yin exchanged a look. They knew perfectly well what he was after. The appetite of these people was immense. They were already thinking of the rest of the Qiao tribe. If I may be so bold, Commandant, the elder ventured, deciding to be direct. Are you thinking of absorbing our entire tribe? The two had expected Yu Ji to laugh it off, to offer some diplomatic pleasantry. To their surprise, he admitted it without hesitation. Precisely, he said, standing tall, his eyes shining with confidence. Our Han tribe has the capacity to manage a much larger population. Our chief is the common lord sent by the heavens. He can lead everyone to a better life. Then Yu Ji's tone shifted, striking a chord that resonated deep in their souls. Besides, can you bear to eat and drink your fill here, while your former kinsmen continue to starve in the wilderness? From the material inducement